Welcome, everybody, to Midday Magazine for this Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Have your host, James, here. We're joined right now by Rise Up Central Wisconsin. We have Jacquelyn Tolksdorf with us right now, program coordinator over there. Jacquelyn, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm usually in Wausau, but thanks for having me all the way in Rapids.
I appreciate you bringing that up because I wanted to thank you for making the trip.
Yeah.
I genuinely appreciate that. Now, we would, in the future, because this isn't the first time we're going to have you. This is the first time of many that I'd like to have you on the air with us. If you ever need to call in, that's perfectly fine. We don't mind that at all. But it is really nice to have you in person and be able to talk this out with you and the public in person. It's nice. So we appreciate making the trip and everything. At least weather cooperated with you a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice out. I'm going to be delusional for a few weeks. Where I'm like, it's spring, right? No,
Same.
It's not.
I want to get into the Mural of Hope with you, and not only here in Rapids, but in Wausau and how that went. But before we do, we were talking a little bit in our pregame that we really haven't gotten to talk about Rise Up Central Wisconsin much. We've mentioned it on our morning show a little bit during our Good Stories of the Day, but we haven't gotten to talk to you. We haven't gotten to talk to anybody over there. So I just want to take a beat and take a step back myself and let you kind of tell us a little bit about what Rise Up Central Wisconsin is.
Yeah, so Rise Up is kind of a two-part art nonprofit. We've scattered our projects all throughout central Wisconsin. So one part is a free community art studio. So we started seeing, a lot of people in our population, even in central Wisconsin, who, workshops or adult art workshops are too expensive. They're getting too pricey, and that's just because the cost of things are getting too high. So on our community art studio days, we have open studio days, open to the public, completely free. Our shelves are stocked with 100% donated materials. I think everyone who does arts and crafts abandons some kind of craft hobby, so they always have leftovers. So we have a ton of yarn, sewing machines. We have a ton of painters who come, and through this we've learned that there's probably a literal ton to maybe 8 million tons of creative people in central Wisconsin. There's so many creative people, but not a lot of people making money at their art. So a big part of what we do is kind of advocating for as much as we can. We have a program where more professional artists can apply for very large canvases. You can go to craft stores and get like a tiny little canvas for $20. But then when you're looking at something the size of this room to make a living at, that gets into the hundreds of dollars that many artists can't afford. So we have initiatives to get them canvas stretching. We have initiatives to get them jobs and stuff like that. And that leads into the other part of our art nonprofit. So we pair working artists who get fair pay. They advocate for what they want to earn as a muralist, and they do workshops with other nonprofits. So we'll pair a muralist with a nonprofit, and if someone calls and says, "Hey, I own a restaurant, can you paint a cheeseburger with a smiley face on our restaurant?" I go, "We can't, because we're data nerds and we like the nerdy impact reports of how a mural can change stuff, because we get too many people who are like, art is stupid, like we don't need murals and stuff like that." So we like to have projects that really, the proof is in the pudding of the impact, and we get the community involved. They help paint even. Our lead artist will design the mural, and then the community will paint by number sections of it, or we have a fun one coming up that is a unique way to get the community involved and stuff like that. And so we pair other nonprofits with artists. So we get those artists paid. We advocate for them to have kind of a great big project throughout the year. And then they kind of workshop with the community to get them involved as well. So we're kind of a two-part art nonprofit.
I think one thing that is noteworthy, and I bring this up whenever I have an opportunity, Wisconsin finished dead last in the union when it came to funding the arts, which is why things like Rise Up Central Wisconsin or other things that we talk about here on this station are so important to our community, to our economy. Because if I can't reach your heart, maybe I can reach your wallet.
Yeah.
These creatives that we're talking about here are a huge impact of the economy here in Wisconsin. And as we see less and less snow and some of our friends up north are struggling more and more, one of the things that I find really creative, if you will, is a lot of the lean into the creative community. And a lot of that, how that is really, meeting people halfway with this and being able to be like, hey, we got you. We got to wait. We know what this is like.
Yeah.
Because I'll say, while I am not a painter or that type of artist, I've been an actor since I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And one of the things that I talk about when I teach acting, or I talk about my own kids come to me and say they want to be a writer or they want to be an actor. Be a surviving artist, not a struggling artist.
Yeah.
And this group, the Central Wisconsin, is helping people do that. Is helping people be a surviving artist, not a struggling artist.
Yeah.
We learn this when we're young. Hey, everybody's different. Everybody gets a different skill set, and artists don't choose this skill set necessarily. This is what we were born with. Mm-hmm. So to be able to use that and do good with it while also making some kind of a living or something is the American dream.
Yeah.
That's what we all strive for. It's no different than somebody who has always wanted to work on cars, and that's what they're doing now. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's so cool to hear of an organization that is doing some work on that and to build bridges and help these artists find work, find different ways of making a living. That part is a huge part of the economy that is going on, whether in Wausau or here in Rapids, wherever you're seeing a difference. I also, just doing a little bit of homework on this one, the communities that support, like have a local community theater or similar to Mural of Hope or some of these things, those communities are that much better off economically.
Yeah.
It makes a big impact on their economics. So again, if I can't reach your heart or your creative mind or spirit, maybe your taxes I can affect and I can touch on that. Because these things all add up. It's all a domino effect. And the idea of it too is so, like, all of that is important. This is also a really fun group of people. This is a really fun organization that's doing some really cool work. And I imagine that there are people out there listening to us, Jacquelyn, that are like, well, I fit that category. I could really be used to help. Can people reach out to you guys and kind of add their name to the database, if you will, and some of that?
Absolutely. So a big part of our advocacy is trying to just get people in Central Wisconsin aware of just how many artists are around who are ready to paint your shed a funky color, who are ready to maybe make that cheeseburger with a smiley face. So we've started an artist collective of local artists who they're rip-roaring and ready to go for, any projects that you're thinking of, all the way down to small artists we have artists who don't fit in with like the craft shows or selling doilies at, a bake sale. And then we have artists who don't fit in with selling $8,000 picture of a puppy at like a festival or something like that. We have a lot of talented people in between who we just need to get their name out there and, support them as much as we can. And I think this was the year, 2024, we moved up to 49th.
Wow.
In state funding for the arts.
Nice.
I haven't really wanted to look up who number 50 moved into. Maybe it's Idaho, Kansas. Probably not. It's probably like...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Though. No.
I'm it's horrible out here.
This is the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
This is, and again, this is all. I'm focusing on this not just as a creative, but as somebody who cares about this state, cares about the economy of this state, and sees a natural resource right in this state. Because something that Jacquelyn hit on in the first 5 seconds here, there are so many creatives in this area, and in Central Wisconsin alone, let alone in the state up and down. It's something that as a young person I didn't quite see. I bring it up a lot more as an adult because I want to highlight it because I feel like I missed this when I was younger and I want to make up for that. I think it's very cool. I think it's very noteworthy. We're proud of a lot of things in this state and we should be. Yeah. We were just talking with somebody from the Beef Council. We're certainly in part of our ag industry is the backbone of this state, backbone of our country. So we're certainly proud of that. But we can also chew gum and walk at the same time. Yeah. We can be proud of two different things.
Yeah.
While we are proud of look at it this way. We're proud of beef. We're proud of cranberries. We're proud of dairy, the dairy state, all these things. Also, you're going to find those same people that have Packer jerseys.
Yep.
Same people that are proud of that or this. It's no different than the arts are no different than sports.
Yeah.
They're no different. They're just another thing for you to kind of be proud of your community from, be proud of your state from. And
Yep.
whether we're talking about some of the legends like Spencer Tracy or Paul Newman or some other great actors and different creatives that have come from this state, some of the ideas and inventions that have come out of this state. Wisconsin's got a long history of creatives and supporting creatives.
Yeah.
So really what Rise Up Central Wisconsin is doing is really keeping up traditions with Wisconsin,
Yeah.
I think, in many ways, bringing a highlight to a lot of this. One of the other parts of this, too, that I think is really unique and important is how long this has been around, this organization. Can you tell us a little bit of the history of this and how long Rise Up Central Wisconsin's been around?
Yeah, so Rise Up Central Wisconsin was founded in 2017. We had our two great founders, Christy Keeley and Tara Drager. They found kind of a incubator program through the Mural Arts of Philadelphia. So Philadelphia is the OG of all murals and public art. For like every city block, there's like 18 murals.
That makes sense,
on the
yeah.
building.
I hadn't thought of it before, but yeah, that makes sense.
And so they had this great program called the Porchlight Program that integrated, because we always, when we care about the arts, we go, hey, this actually has an impact on health and healthcare. And if we go into an art vacuum in society, our society kind of sucks a little bit. So how does this tie in? And we always have to defend it to certain people when they're like, we're cutting the art school budget. And you're like, no, but please don't. And so this Porchlight program kind of gave them like the grassroots effort of how to tie in community involvement with the murals. So each mural, like we said, isn't a cheeseburger on a restaurant. We workshop with the community. Each project that we have is to serve whoever is doing the workshop and stuff like that. And so it's all about getting the community involved and having some kind of impact. We advocate for art just for art's sake, but we also advocate for maybe art with a little bit of impact and a little bit of punch behind it.
It's one of the ways, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen more and more of this, of people in the community wanting to do good in the community. But for every one of us that have a skill set that you can maybe help in our medical field or some of these other things, as creatives, we want to do good. We want to impact our communities, impact society. But how do you do that? Well, you take your skill set and you find different ways to do that. For me and for my staff here, a lot of us, it's promoting events and people like yourselves and being able to do that. We all find our different ways, and the creative world is no different when it comes to that. And that kind of leads us, Jacquelyn, to Mural of Hope.
Yeah.
And diving into this a little bit more. Where did this, we touched on where it began and such, but can you tell us a little bit more about this and the impact it had in Wausau?
Yeah, so we, through the years, have had many projects trying to focus on what good could we do with the community who's involved. If you've been to Wausau, you've seen the big Rise Up mural maybe downtown on the 400 block.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
And that one was specifically for people who are in alcohol and drug recovery. They helped paint it. They helped do the paint by number. We workshopped how is just art and channeling something for good, getting you through sobriety or getting you through kind of these really tough times ahead of you and stuff like that. And then, so this specific Mural of Hope one, we've partnered with a nonprofit here in Wisconsin Rapids. So the Wood County Human Services has a youth program that they've been doing now since about 2019. And so this youth program focuses on basically, instead of having the word at-risk kids, we have all these buzzwords in nonprofits where it's like at-risk kids. But at-risk kids are basically the kids in the preteens, the teenagers in Wood County who have not had a great start. They don't have a good foundation. So maybe parents have had some drug or substance abuse. Maybe parents have been to jail. Maybe even the preteens or the kids have been to juvenile jail. And now you're trying to work on yourself as a preteen or a teen, and society says, well, there's not really a lot of hope that you're going to be someday whatever you want to be, because you've started, most of the kids are below the poverty line. Almost all the kids that we're working with have some form of trauma that have been involved in their life, and they can feel it. They feel it when they're getting to this age where 18 is coming around the bend, and is there hope? Is there hope for a future for them? So through Wood County Human Services, they've developed this program to try to just be a beacon of like, how can we cultivate opportunities for these kids, not just jobs or getting them used to like the workforce, but like, how can we really focus on giving them actual hope for their future?
This speaks real closely to me, Jacquelyn. This was me.
Yeah.
Growing up, I grew up in a family with addiction. I grew up in a very poor family on the other side of the tracks and all those things. And whether it was teachers that I had, or it was even sometimes family members telling me that I was never going to get any farther than my father got, or the idea of wanting to be an actor was one of the silliest things they ever heard, or anything like that. I'm here to tell you that can change, that you can change it with support, with the right people around you. I've been a SAG member since 2008. I have been in radio for 22 some years. I have stayed on the right side of things for the majority of my life. Not perfect, but I've done an all right job. I wouldn't even consider myself a success story, because I know people that have done even more and come from even worse than I have to accomplish a lot. And I'm talking about people not in another state, not around, in this town right here I'm talking about. So it is not only noteworthy to have these organizations and the support and the work that they can do, but to those out there on the fence, to those out there, well, how much good does it really do? You're hearing it right now in real time from me. I'm telling you. And I'm one example. There's hundreds, if not more than that, examples out there. And look at what the good that can happen from this. Not only are you supporting the creative community and these creatives, but these are people, again, that pay taxes, go on to do work in our industries around here in this state, and add to the economic health of our state. It all adds up, and it all has such a great positive to it too, along with the idea of this is just a good thing to do because it's the right thing to do. Now, among all these other things.
Yeah.
So with Mural of Hope, with a project like this, how can we help? How can we be a part of this? I can't even draw a stick figure. How can I help with this, though, Jacquelyn?
Well, even people who can't even draw a stick figure, you definitely will be invited to help. So we love to get the community involved in stuff. We have a very talented artist. Her name is Olivia Mazurnik. She'll be designing the mural and actually painting real preteens and teens who want to be depicted in the mural as some kind of, a little mark on, their history and their timeline, and they've got a future and they got stuff to say. But the community can get involved in July. So we are right now working on funding for the mural because we're a nonprofit. We work on business sponsorships, which any business can be a part of to help fund a part of the mural. We, in July, will team up with the Wood County Sheriff's Department, and we're going to have, instead of a paint-by-number day, you don't even have to paint by number or draw a stick figure, because we're going to have a paint balloon fight.
Nice. So
everyone's going to get nice little kind of plastic suits to wear, goggles and everything. We're going to have mobile walls available, and basically you're going to grab a paint balloon, instead of a water balloon, a paint balloon. I'll talk with the Wood County Sheriff's Department to see, how much they want to get pelted with water balloons, because we might have to limit that for some people.
We talk with them once a month.
Yeah.
They'll actually be in a couple of days.
Nice.
And this may be the very first question I start with Sheriff Becker with.
How many paint balloons are you willing to get pelted with?
and when did you come up with this idea? Because it seems like such a Sean thing. It seems like it's such a great idea. This is a big part of what we're talking about with this too. We want to help support artists, and we like to get a community support to this. But like every good nonprofit in all of central Wisconsin, really in this state, here's a great opportunity as well for our sheriff's department to kind of build bridges and just show that they're human beings, which is something that Sheriff Becker and I talk about quite a bit and everything. So just the added layers to this are really nice to see as well, and a great partnership right there too. That's going to be fun for everybody.
Yeah, some of these kids have had experience already with the sheriff's department, whether that is the sheriffs had to come when they were a kid and take them out, or they've already been to juvenile detention. Yeah. And so they're very on board with kind of bridging the gap of, it doesn't have to be it will kind of probably be a cops versus teens fight in July on that day, but the public will be invited to come. We'll announce that when we have that all ready of, teens and preteens and parents can come and, watch how the splatters happen. And then the splatters will dictate the background of the mural. And so the mural is going on 340 Grand Avenue. So it's on the corner of 4th and Grand Avenue. And so in July, we'll have that paint splatter day. Our talented artist, Olivia, is working on the art that will go on top of those splatters that the community makes. And then we're planning a kind of a big blowout food truck unveiling event in September. So everyone will be welcome to come by in that parking lot by 340 Grand Avenue. You'll get to see the mural. You'll get to see all the businesses who are showcased who helped us get there. Grant funding is a little iffy nowadays, so we're really counting on the support of local businesses to kind of step in and help us. And, we understand that it's not something all businesses want to support. When we, in the nonprofit world, you either say at risk or you be honest and say, at risk means kids who maybe have gone to juvenile detention. Maybe, they've had a troubled past. Maybe they come from a family that you don't have values with. But these kids, we got to work on hope for them. And that's what the youth program is all about. And that's what this mural is for. We love historic murals, all throughout Wisconsin and stuff like that. But a teenager will often see those murals and go, I don't really see my future or anything in there. I don't really see anything that's hopeful, recently in this world. So
this is a great opportunity to create that. And to be a part of it. And you could be a part of it too. Art supplies are things that we can always use in different ways of helping, impacting that way also. And Jacquelyn, if people would like to do that, would like to be a part of this or just be a sponsor, any of the above, how can they find out more? How can they reach you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website to figure out more about the project and how to sponsor and how to contribute in any way you can. Our website is www.riseupart.org. We can always be reached at our email, art@riseup.org, or by phone number, 715-497-6142. And we're always happy to chat about what's going on with different projects in Wisconsin Rapids, throughout central Wisconsin, and all our other kind of project locations, and just get to know how art has kind of connected you to our community and what we can do to, serve other creatives in our area.
I think it'd be really fun to be able to talk again as we're getting closer to the unveiling and how this is developing, which also means that you did too good of a job. You're going to have to come back. I'm sorry. It's not.
I will take my punishment with a smile.
We look forward to it. Thank you again for the time and all the work that you and your team are doing with this. So we really appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We'll have more Midday Magazine coming up for you right here at 97.5 FM, 1320 AM, WFHR. We are locally grown radio.